Check. Check. Welcome to LA Press Box, everybody. We're glad you're with us as the Dodgers move on to Detroit and open a 3-game weekend series against the Detroit Tigers at Comerica Park. Whether you're blacked out, away from a television, following along on the road, or simply looking for a deeper way to enjoy Dodgers baseball or even Tigers baseball, you are all welcome. LA Press Box is your live game companion, whether you can see the game today, maybe even at work, or not. Friday is one of those unusual days, especially with first pitch, the time that it's at today. But the command center that we have, you can see it over my shoulder, will handle all of the live numbers, not just right now, but throughout the game. It's updated in real time. But we focus on the stories, the starting pitchers, and the developments surrounding the Dodgers. And of course, today's game comes with one of the most interesting pitching storylines we've had all season. That's Tarik Skubal. He is back in Detroit for the first time after really defining part of a generation in that city. He was traded to the Dodgers right before the trade deadline. But for the first time in his major league career, he's walking into Comerica Park as a member of the visiting team. The Dodgers acquired the 2-time American League Cy Young Award winner from Detroit. And today, Skubal faces the organization he spent his entire major league career with before coming to Los Angeles. In fact, he's hinted at the fact that maybe he still wants to go back and finish his career with them. But we have bigger fish to fry, and we have to focus on the moment. And it is a big moment for the Dodgers. The Dodgers were just swept in 3 games by Atlanta. 3 consecutive games, all losses by 1 run. And most recently, they lost yesterday, 1-0, in which a game started by Yoshinobu Yamamoto allowed only that leadoff home run, but the Dodgers could not respond. And so, of course, today's a new challenge and a new opportunity to respond, as the Dodgers are only as good as their most recent opponent, although they've shown kind of 2 sides. I mean, obviously, they got swept by one of the better teams in baseball just recently. And if you go back a couple of weeks when they faced Milwaukee, the team with the best record in baseball, they lost 3 out of 4, and they had some close ones there too. Then they're completely different, although in plenty of close games as well, against the bottom feeders, no disrespect to them, people like the Colorado Rockies or the Kansas City Royals, for example. So we'll see what kind of Dodgers we get today. But back to the pitching, because that's going to get almost all of the attention. So many cameras pointed on both Tarek Skubal and some of the fans in Detroit as he gets set to make his return there. But this is a very interesting challenge, needless to say. Skubal debuted in Detroit in 2020 and developed into one of baseball's elite pitchers in this park. Won consecutive American League Cy Young Awards and captured the pitching triple crown in 2024. There's also going to be a lot of emotion, of course, both by him and by the people in the stands, and I'm sure his former teammates. He seemed to be emotional in the press conference where they asked him about the trade right before he officially moved on to the Dodgers. And so it'll be something that I hope, and I'm sure other Dodger fans hope, will get him juiced early. Because what I think I've seen in the few games that he started for the Dodgers is he's a little bit of a slow starter. At least that's how he's been with us. And the most recent game, where he gave up 3 runs in the first inning, seemed like he hadn't quite found his stride yet. And he got angry, and after that point, he responded with 11 straight strikeouts. So it was quite a thing to behold, and there's no question he's got the stuff to rank him amongst the best pitchers in the league. So we're going to take you, as always, down that first side of the ledger. So there is, on the far side of your screen, Tarek Skubal, who has a win-loss record this year of 8-7 with an ERA of 2.91, a WHIP below 1, outstanding. And look at this whopping ratio of strikeouts to walks. He's got 146 Ks to only 21 bases on ball. As far as the defense that's going to back him up, Hunter Fiducia gets the call behind the plate, as usual for the last few weeks. He and Ben Rortvedt get to alternate, but the report is that Will Smith felt good on his minor league rehab assignment, and I believe he hit a home run in his first at bat. So that's great news. As far as pitching goes, we'll talk more about this later, but it looks like Shohei Ohtani might be set to return to the starting rotation next week. We'll see how that goes. The two of them have actually been working together as they rehab for different spots in the Dodger lineup. You're going to have Freddie Freeman at first base, as always, Tommy Edman at second, Mookie Betts at short, and Max Muncy at third, with Teoscar Hernandez in left, Thomas in center, the recently acquired minor league center fielder, who's been, I think, a pleasant surprise, but he's not going to replace Andy Pages, who's still at least a couple weeks out after breaking his hand. And then you have Kyle Tucker in right. So with Skubal and this defense, what are they facing? Well, just below that, as always, you'll see the opponent averages in all the different batting categories. And whenever someone's elite, at least according to our standards at LA Press Box, we'll highlight that stat in gold for you. So starting at first, in the first part of the batting order is Gleyber Torres at second base. He's got a batting average of .258. Then Yu Lee at third base. Kevin McGonigal in shortstop, batting third. Dylan Dingler at at catcher, batting cleanup. Eduardo Valencia in the fifth spot, being the DH. Ben Mulgary in right field. Spencer Torkelson at first. Max Clark batting in eighth, playing center field, and Javier Baez in left field, bringing up the rear. On the other side, Tigers counter with Drew Anderson, who, as you can see here, has a 4-5 record. He's got a 4.09 ERA and a 1.29 WHIP. And he's a 32-year-old right-hander whose role has changed substantially during the season, and part of it's because of the trade where the Detroit Tigers let Tarek Skubal go. He spent much of the year working out of the bullpen, but Detroit's deadline changed those kinds of things, the trade deadline, where not only did they have the departure of Skubal, but also Casey Mize. Overall, Anderson's appeared in 44 games, including 6 starts, and he's thrown 81 1/3 innings with 91 strikeouts. As far as the defense that's going to back him up, as usual, you can see those same names that we just called out. And what about the Dodgers? Well, as usual, they rank in the top 10 in pretty much every batting category. But it's always a case with them, and you can really see a stark divide, as we mentioned before, between playing the best teams and the worst teams. It's about timing, and it's about not just getting people on base and getting hits, but also moving them along and doing them in concert. And when the Dodgers were on a roll before the Atlanta series, you could see them being more aggressive on the base pads, being more mindful of run production, doing the small things to try to produce runs. One clear example to me last week was when Shohei Ohtani got on base, and even before Freddie Freeman came up and faced the first pitch of the next at bat, he saw that the pitcher wasn't paying attention and stole second clearly. And that ended up leading to the first run of the game. So as far as the lineup goes for the Dodgers, you can see Shohei, as usual, leading off in the DH spot, and he is elite in every batting category, whether it's his batting average at 285 or his home run total, which he's been stuck at for a little bit now at 30. Freddie Freeman will be in the second spot, batting an even 300 and an on-base percentage of 372. Mookie Betts is in the third spot. Max Muncy is in the cleanup spot. Good solid slugging percentage, and love it when he attacks the right corner of the field. Tommy Edman in the fifth spot. Kyle Tucker in right field, whose average is even lower than it was last time he was on the road. He's been at about 230 for several weeks. We'll see if his average, which is usually a little bit higher when he's on the road than at home, that's been well documented, kind of clicks back in the more positive direction today. In the seventh spot will be Alek Thomas, that young, solid talent. It doesn't show it in his batting average with 183, but he's really done some good things for the Dodgers since he was pulled up, trying to fill that hole in center field until Andy Pages can come back. In the eighth spot, Teoscar Hernandez, and then the catcher, Hunter Fiducia, bringing up the rear. So that's how it looks. And at this point, we've got 3 minutes left until the first pitch. So we'll start with our first poll question of the day. How do you think this game is going to end? So if you're with us right now, go ahead and type in the chat 1 if you see this being a Dodgers comeback where they're going to be behind early and then come back late, hopefully for the win. Type a 2 in the chat if you think the Dodgers get the lead and hold on for the win. A 3 if you think this game goes into extra innings, and a 4 if you think the Tigers they spoil the return of Tarek Skubal going back home. And so it's a 1 in the chat for a Dodgers comeback, a 2 for the Dodgers holding on, a 3 if you think it's going to go to extra innings, and a 4 if you think the Tigers are going to win. And while you do that, I would also recommend, if you haven't already, grab your favorite snack and drink and settle in, because first pitch is just about underway. This is the time where we also load the 3D, so we'll be back in just a moment. All right, we are just about locked and loaded. Detroit wearing their orange jerseys with the black lettering and white pants. And fortunately, the 3D's cooperating today, so we can be locked and loaded for Shohei Ohtani's first at bat, because even though he hasn't hit a home run for a while and he's kind of stuck on 30, we know that's not going to last, and he has a little bit of a knack of jumping on pitchers early when he's on the road. Drew Anderson has the 10th worst strike zone rate in the majors. As we said in the preview, he's been kind of pressed into starting duty, in part because of the trade of Tarek Skubal, who's returning home today. First pitch from Anderson on the way, and the game begins with a strike. Ohtani looks at it, looks very still in his stance, and that's one of the things that he does very well. He's not moving a lot and wiggling a lot in his stance as he chops that one foul to the right of first base. And that helps him maintain solid eye contact with the ball. It's just easier to have eye-hand coordination the less your eyes move. So Ohtani, though, with an 0-2 count, and he looks to the next pitch outside for ball one. Ohtani's batting .285 on the season, 80 RBI. Oh, and he chases that one, although it's way inside and low, and starts the game with a strikeout. Outstanding curveball that dropped at least 2 feet. I mean, it started just a tiny bit high in the strike zone when it was released from Anderson's hand, and it bounced in the dirt by the time it got to Ohtani. So Freddie Freeman comes up, who's batting .300. And he's got 15 home runs on the season, but I don't think he's hit a home run in at least a month. I think it might be closer to a month and a half. I can't remember when he hit another home run. Looks at the first pitch for a ball. Next one jams him inside, and he breaks his bat. It's not something that is picked up on the 3D. The top of the bat almost hit Mookie Betts in the on-deck circle. Yeah, 43 games Freddie Freeman's played in. The last 43 games, as a matter of fact, with no home runs. And he looks at that one for a strike. Well placed in the lower inside corner. So now Freeman with a 1-2 count. And the next one swung on and missed. So 2 straight strikeouts by the Dodgers to start the game. Dodgers were shut out yesterday, hoping for a fresh start. now that they don't have to face the Atlanta Braves anymore. Mookie Betts set to come up in the third spot. He is batting .300 against the Tigers. Takes the first pitch for a ball and make that 2 in a row now. Counts 2-0. Runs high, check swing, does not go. 3 straight balls to Mookie. And he's taking all the way on the next pitch, which is in there for a strike. Now the count's 3-1. Ooh, another wicked curve. The kind that got Shohei swinging. This one started much higher and then dropped in for a strike right at the bottom edge of the strike zone. But the next pitch misses outside, and now Mookie Betts walks. And the Dodgers have a runner on with 2 outs. Now Max Muncy comes up, batting .253 with 26 home runs. Muncy did not play last night. Looks at that first pitch, inside and in the dirt. In fact, he hops out of the way. Let it hit you, man. Not going to be some injury. Let it hit you in the leg. Hey, anywhere near the head, do whatever you have to get out of the way. But a pitch like that, I mean, come on, dude. Next one just misses. A catch low and outside for ball 2. And Anderson gets that one in there, making the count 2-1. Boy, this is one of the biggest drops in curveballs I've seen this season. I might need to rotate this camera a couple times to the side to see and show how wicked the path of the ball is. That one just misses outside, and the count's 3-1. And that one's just inside, jams up Muncy. Hits on the skinny part of the bat, and he fouls it back and out of play to the left. So 2 outs. First 2 batters strike out against a guy with a huge looping curveball as far as I can see, Anderson. The 3-2 pitch misses way up high as Mookie Betts was running with 2 outs. And now with 2 outs, the Dodgers have 2 on. That'll bring up Tommy Edman, batting in the 5th spot, and has a .267 average with 5 home runs. Fouls off the first pitch, which is high and inside, but in the strike zone for strike 1. This is a much better average for Edman, batting left against a righty at .284 than the other way around. The other way around, I think he's batting .220 and change. The next pitch misses, so the count's even at 1-1. And this one is grounded meekly to first, picked up and run all the way over to the bag by the first baseman. And the Dodgers are not able to make any permanent noise with 2 outs and 2 runners on. But now Tarik Skubal set to come out and make his return to the park where he made a name for himself. And getting a standing ovation from Tigers fans right now. Not a full stadium, and that's understandable. Although they are a couple of hours ahead, it's a weekday. And at the same time, Tigers aren't so good. But Skubal with a skip, jump, and a run to the mound. I'm sure he's feeling a little bit electric and has some emotions of some sort returning to the ballpark that's meant so much to him. His ERA has gone up with the Dodgers since joining them. With Detroit, it was 2.79. Now it's 3.38. Opponent average has gone up too, from 210 to 222. Although the number of strikeouts has increased for him, so has the number of walks. Last time he went to the mound to start for the Dodgers, it was something. It was quite the roller coaster because he gave up 3 earned runs completely on him. No defensive lapses, no errors. And gave up those 3 runs in the first and then just mowed people down for the rest of the game. No more runs given up. 11 strikeouts. And there's a little bit of a delay because he's trying to get the communication system going, the comm system, where he discusses with the catcher what pitch they're going to throw. Oh boy, he's got a fresh cut. This you cannot see on the 3D, but he got his hair cut tight for this return home. It's pretty much shaved all around the side of his head, and then on top of his head, it's short. So he's going to face Gleyber Torres. Looks like the comm system is finally up and running. The first pitch misses high for a ball. And the first pitch that he swings at is over the head of the center fielder, Thomas. And he's going to be into second with a stand-up double. The first time somebody swings on Skubal, they blast the ball deep. And it'll be interesting to see how Skubal responds to that. Maybe it locks him in a little bit earlier than usual. Like I said, it takes him like usually I would say an inning or two to really get untracked. But there's 2 levels to going back to what has always been your home. You know, there's the warm feelings, maybe a little bit of conflict, but then there's the, oh man, I don't want to do poorly in my own home. So feels like there's just a little more at stake. So now Skubal's going to face Lee, and the early count to Lee is 1-1. Next pitch is swung on and missed. So the count's 1-2, and Lee batting .272 on the season with 7 home runs. Next pitch, chopped foul to the left of third base. Lee also has 33 RBI on the season, has a golden opportunity here with the leadoff man on second. And that one gets Lee to bend back just a little bit outside of the strike zone. So the count's even at 2-2. Next pitch, in there for strike three. So outstanding response after the opening double by Tarek Skubal. And he has his first punch out of the day. And with one out, the number 3 hitter, McGonigal, comes up. Batting .278 on the season with 14 home runs. And he's only 22. He swings and misses at that one. 100%. That'd be very weird. It's got to be weird batting against a guy that you've seen mow down so many other opponents. That one is fouled back, and McGonigal barely caught up to it. Already in a hole, 0-2. So the 0-2 pitch on the way from Skubal. And that one misses high, ball one. The thing about Skubal is he's got really 2 pitches that he goes to most that complement each other. He's got a really good So Kyle Tucker's set to come up for the Dodgers. And swings at the very first pitch. Gets it up high to right center, but the fly is caught for the first out of the inning. So Anderson doing a good job against the Dodgers so far. And a couple of huge looping curveballs. That one misses inside. And make that one another pitch out of the strike zone. Counts 2-0. Next one, just inside, but catches the bat on a check swing that was designed to kind of protect himself. And now Thomas has his first strike with a count of 2-1. Thomas adjusting some of his gear and then comes back up. Got a pretty long mullet, which is one of the things you don't see on the 3D. Holds up on the next pitch, and now the count's 3-1. And the next one is chopped just foul to the right of first base, and the count's full now. Next pitch is hit to first, and once again, Torkelson, just like last inning, picks up a grounder and runs over to the bag to step on it and records the out with no help. So now the 8 hitter, Teoscar Hernandez, comes up, who's batting .245 with 11 home runs. Looks at the first pitch inside for a strike. Teo, wearing number 37, has 11 home runs on the season, 44 RBI. And that one is blasted foul to the left. And Teo is below his normal RBI production, although he was out with a hamstring injury for weeks. But still performing overall at a level less than what Dodger fans have come to expect. And that pitch is outside. And Teo gets right back to work in the box, ready to face Anderson, who's done a nice job against the Dodgers so far today, and gets Teo to swing at a ball that's high for strike 3. So another up and down for the Dodgers, where they don't score. Going to the bottom of the second, where the score is 0-0. All right, as you just saw, Eduardo Valencia is set to come up and get his first crack at Scooble, wearing number 29 for the Dodgers. And Scooble starts him with a fastball in there for a strike at 97 miles an hour. Valencia's batting .329 on the season. In the 5 spot, 6 home runs. Scooble gets him with another strike, another fastball. Next one's low. So Scooble invests, if you will, in trying to get Valencia to chase. Does not, because it's well low. Oh, and gets him to chase that one for a strikeout. So Scooble's got this 1-2 punch. Not that they're the only 2 pitches, but the strike 3 call is often on a changeup after he's peppered these guys with fastballs. And the changeup is really kind of the killer pitch. So now he's going to face Mulgari, who's batting .242. This one is swung on and popped up to right field, and it shouldn't be any trouble for Kyle Tucker. And it isn't, and makes the catch for the second out of the inning. The thing that's good to see so far with Scooble, one of the good things, is that he's not burning a bunch of pitches early in the game. And that's been what we've seen since he's become a Dodger. That was part of the negative that happened in the last time for the Dodgers. And he went beyond 100 pitches to keep the Dodgers in the game after giving up 3 runs to start that game. Dodgers were able to take advantage and just squeak out a 4-3 win. So now he's going to face, in the 7th spot, the first baseman, Torkelson. And that one is a check swing foul for strike 2. And the count is 1-2 to Torkelson. Next pitch with the iconic high leg kick by Scooble. Misses outside for a ball. And the next pitch to Spencer Torkelson misses low for a ball. Next pitch on the way from Scooble to Torkelson is grounded to short. Mookie Betts picks it up and actually stayed off the ground just long enough for Betts to catch it, and 3 away. And at the end of the 2 innings we've seen so far, no score. All right, the catcher, Hunter Fiducia, about to get his first at bat of the day. And the early reports are that Will Smith might be joining the Dodgers behind the plate sooner rather than later. Reportedly had a good minor league rehab assignment where he had a home run in his first at bat. And I've been saying for a long time, because there was no word about him and his neck injury, that if we got him back in time for the playoffs, that would be sweet. First pitch from Anderson to Fiducia. Misses inside for a ball. Fiducia's batting .244, 3 home runs. And looks at that one. Flipped the strike zone. Shohei Ohtani on deck. Misses high. Count is 3-1. And that one gets fouled back and out of play, and now the count's full. Something to keep in mind is that the pitcher Anderson for Detroit has been a bullpen pitcher for most of the year, as that one misses outside. So starting is not necessarily his normal comfort zone or the task. He has started a couple of times this year, but he walks Fiducia. So that sets a little bit of a table for Shohei Ohtani. Three walks now for Anderson, along with 3 strikeouts. And the first strikeout against Ohtani was the one of the game that really got Anderson going against the Dodgers, although it's still early. And this one is grounded to second base by Ohtani, and the Tigers are going to be able to turn 2. And the Dodgers, once again, ground into a double play. They have the most double plays that they've hit into all teams in baseball. So Freddie Freeman comes up, who's also struck out. So the second of 3 strikeouts for Anderson so far. And Freddie looks at the first pitch inside. 1-0 count to the batter that's batting an even .300 on the season. Next one misses outside, and now Freddie's got a 2-0 count. Getting into double plays on the ground is something that the Dodgers have to find a way to clean up and decrease as they get closer to the playoffs. Freddie swings and misses at that one. And that's part of the two-sided coin that is the Dodgers, I think, right now. Not the only reason, of course, but why they are able to string together many close wins against the teams with the lower records in the league, but not able to get over the hump in the second half of this season against the best teams, like the Atlanta Braves, who they were just swept by. 3 straight losses by 1 run. As Freddie swings and misses at that one. And then, of course, they lost 3 of 4 at home to the Milwaukee Brewers. And that pitch misses outside. Now Anderson suddenly has 4 walks in the game. So unfortunately, base is empty because of the ground ball to second base by Shohei Ohtani. led to a double play. And here's another guy that the Dodgers have hitting into way too many double plays. It's not really relevant right now with 2 outs. But another guy that the Dodgers, like Teoscar Hernandez, expect more of. Betts has had some good games where, he's able to string together multiple hits and some home runs, but we need him to be able to produce at a better, higher level consistently. First quarter of the season, he was batting less than 200. And he fouls that one back. It counts 1-2. He's done a nicer job just in the last 2 weeks at shortstop, but sometimes he gets a little bit lax there too. And I just don't see the margin for the Dodgers this year being the same way it's been the last couple of years. And of course, it came down to a couple of key plays in each of the last 2 World Series that could have gone the other way, as opposed to the Dodgers being repeat world champions. So it's always close. It's a game of inches, sometimes a game of an inch. But it just seems like we're on the bottom edge of that ledge right now, even though we've been near the top of the standings throughout the season. And Mookie swings at a pitch way below the strike zone and strikes out. And so we have a couple of batters that we leave on base, not able to get any runs on the scoreboard yet. Going to the bottom of the third, it's the Dodgers 0 and Detroit 0. All right, Tarek Skubal in his Tigers homecoming goes back to the mound and already has 3 strikeouts. He's pitched 77 games at Comerica Park, where we're at today. And he is set to face the 8-hitter Clark, who's batting .239 with 2 home runs. And Max Clark swings and misses at the first pitch. Next pitch is in there. Fastball in the high part of the strike zone. And Clark is suddenly at an 0-2 deficit. Skubal earlier tonight received with a standing ovation by Tigers fans, and you see why there with his 4th strikeout of the game already. And now he's set to face the 9-hitter Baez. Baez batting .262 on the season with 2 home runs and 14 RBI. Swings. Sorry. Swings really late at that one. That one snuck on him quick. And it counts 0-1. Next one's fouled off, and another hitter in a hole. And this is right about the time where Scooble's got a nice, like, lather going, and he just starts acting almost like a machine. Doesn't think real long on the mound, mixes up his pitches. And I mean, he's got a sinker, he's got a curveball. The pitches he has excellent control of. But really, like, the 1-2 punch for him, generally speaking, is the fastball and the changeup. They really complement each other. So the 0-2 count to Baez. And out of the strike zone, up high, but 101 miles an hour. That's not something you normally see Scooble do. I mean, he's got a really good fastball, but doesn't typically, in the time I've been watching him play for the Dodgers, break 100. But like I said, you could see him, like, really cooking now. And that's his 5th strikeout of this game. Now he goes to the top of the Tigers lineup. He's going to face Torres again, who led this game off with a double to the fence in center field. And that pitch misses low. So the early count to Torres, 2-1. And at this at bat, Scooble's going to that 1-2 punch a little bit more. It's probably a little bit of a security blanket. That pitch misses way outside for ball 3. Wow, and Scooble threw that one right down the pipe. A fastball, 97, and just said, go ahead and try to hit this. And the gamble paid off. Torres swung a little bit too early and clipped it foul to the left of third base. Next pitch on the way from Scooble, and freezes Torres. Torres 2 steps out of there after Scooble freezes him up with the changeup that he so often likes to go to for strike 3. And as you can see right here, before the 3D slips away, this white ball in the bottom left just clipped the strike zone. And Scooble, like, skip hop runs off the mound in joy after he strikes out all 3 batters in this inning. But still, at the end of 3, there's no score. So Tarek Scooble cooking so far in his return to Comerica Park in Detroit. Problem for the Dodgers is they're not taking advantage of it yet. Anderson also pitching a shutout. And now it falls to Max Muncy. Got to help the Dodgers get on the board. He did walk the first time he was up. That one misses just by a hair, and Max is up early. Second one's low, and he's got an opportunity to get 2-0. Now, Anderson has 3 strikeouts that he's thrown, but he's also thrown 4 walks. Way outside. Boy, he lost the grip on that. Counts 3-0. And I would think if you're a Dodger, no matter who you are at this point, you make him throw a strike if you've got an early 3-0 count. And that's what Max Muncy does. And the easiest way to get runs home is to have runners on. You hit a base hit, you draw a walk. And this one is blasted to first, but nice job by the first baseman climbing the ladder and catching that one before it went in the spot that Max Muncy normally likes to attack, which is the right corner of the stadium. That would have been easily a double if he had let it get over his head and bounce fair. But he doesn't, and it's 1 out, and now Tommy Edmonds up. Edmonds 0 for 1. First one is just in there for a strike. Dodgers do not have a hit yet. 4 walks, but no hits. And this one is blooped over the head of the second baseman, in there for the first hit of the game. So Tommy Edman breaks the dry spell. Batting from the left side of the plate, the right side as we look at it, which is the side that he has a higher batting average. Right around 285. So able to take advantage of that matchup. And now Kyle Tucker comes up, who's 0 for 1. And he's only batting 228. And this one is swung on the very first pitch by Kyle Tucker, and he's able to bloop it past the overshifted infield into left center, shallow left center, but for a base hit nonetheless. So 1 out, but runners at first and second for the Dodgers, and they have something to work with here. So that brings up Alek Thomas. Alek Thomas called up from the minors the day after Andy Pages broke his hand. He grounds this one to second base. Oh, and they're going to turn 2 again. Gosh dang it. Another ground ball, giving a team a chance to turn 2 and avert any kind of danger that the Dodgers are trying to mount. And add that to the total that leads the league for grounding into double plays. So we're going to the bottom of the 4th, and Tarek Skubal set to come back to the mound again. Pitching extremely well. And if you're with us for the first time at LA Press Box, welcome. We're a new channel, and we'd love if you joined LA Press Box by hitting that subscribe button, also giving us a like. And you'll know when our next broadcasts are going to be. We are going to be here for all 3 of these games, and tomorrow, as well as Sunday, Pacific time, they are going to be first pitch between 10 and 11 a.m. I think tomorrow is, I want to say it's 10:10 or 10:20 a.m. And then Sunday is 10:40 a.m. Pacific. But as the name suggests, focused on LA sports. And in the next week, we are going to expand and start to cover Los Angeles football teams in addition to the Dodgers. Of course, that'll include the Rams, the Chargers, and UCLA football. So Lee set to come up. And Scooble struck out the last three batters he faced. The only three batters he faced in the last inning. Just skipped off the mound and jogged with a little bit of extra oomph in his step to the Dodgers dugout. And first pitch to Lee is a strike. Lee is 0 for 1. And this one is fly to right center. Looks like it's going to be Kyle Tucker in charge of making the catch. And he does after opening up and running to his right. So one away quickly for Scooble, who now has thrown 43 pitches in the game. And now the shortstop McGonigal comes up. No, not the professor. McGonigal's 0 for 1 with a strikeout tonight. And if Scooble keeps cooking the way that he is, the question will become who doesn't strike out against him today. McGonigal's batting .278. One is fouled off. So the count is even, 1-1 to McGonigal early. So Scooble set to deliver the 1-1, and this one is grounded to first. Freddie Freeman picks it up and says, "I got this, Scoob," and covers first base for the second out of the inning. This is what you want to see from your pitcher. You want to see really boring at bats. That's what it's been recently. First batter of the game that faced Scooble hit a double over the head of the center fielder Thomas to the wall. So now Dingler comes up, and Scooble starts him with a strike. He's just going right at these guys, daring them to swing early. And it's been a truism for a really long time, though, for all pitchers. You want to get ahead early in the count and make the first pitch to any given batter a strike rather than a ball. I know that's an easy thing to say, a lot harder to execute. Second pitch misses outside, and the count's 1-1. Dingler's 0 for 1, and he's batting .253 on the season. And fouls that one back over the head of the catcher. If you're ever curious what the count is or the score or who's on base and how many outs, that's why we built the command center that's at the top left of your screen so that you can see it in real time. So speaking of that, as you can see, with 2 outs, it's a 2-2 count, and the next pitch is grounded just to the left of third base and out of the reach of Max Muncy. But the count remains. Next pitch on the way. Right at the top of the strike zone, at 99 miles an hour, Dingler fouls that fastball back. And the next pitch is just flubbed over to first. Freddie Freeman picks it up, no problem, and steps on the bag for the third out. And Scooble has retired the last 12 batters. Question is, can the Dodgers give him any run support? At the end of 4, it's the Dodgers 0 and the Tigers 0. All right, so Teoscar Hernandez set to come up, and the Dodgers trying to get something going. They have just straight not been good today at the plate. And it's been in a couple of different ways. One is that Anderson's already thrown 4 walks. It's either 4 or 5 walks. And they haven't been able to take advantage of that. The hits that they've got, they just got last inning, and there were a couple of bloop hits. Now we'll take them, but not hitting the ball hard against Anderson, although it's kind of challenging with a curveball pitcher like this. And Teo singles to left field to start the inning. But also hitting into double plays. So we'll see if this inning is going to be any different for Dodger fans as Hunter Fiducia, the catcher, comes up. Fiducia is one of those batters that's walked for the Dodgers. And he looks at the first pitch, in there for a strike. Shohei Ohtani on deck. Shohei struck out his first at bat and then grounded into a double play his second time, getting to the second baseman. Fiducia swings at that one and fouls it back. Now he's in a hole, 0-2. And that one fouled back and out of play to the left side as Fiducia protects the plate. Although it would have been in there for a strike if he didn't swing. Next pitch on the way from Anderson to Fiducia. And this one is swung on and flied to right. And shouldn't be any problem for Malgary. And one away with a runner on first. Meanwhile, Shohei Ohtani looking for his first hit of the game. See, the infield shifted way over to our right because Ohtani often pulls the ball to the side of the plate he's standing. First pitch backs him up just a little bit for a ball. Anderson takes a little glance over at first and delivers the next pitch outside. The count's 2-0. Could this be another walk by Anderson? Oscar Hernandez on first base. And Shohei looks at the next pitch, in there for a strike. 2-1. And next pitch outside, and the catcher throws to first after catching that ball. Trying to pick off Teoscar Hernandez. Wow, that takes some confidence. Especially throwing it from your knees. Now, of course, you throw it from your knees because you're trying to get it out of your hands quickly. But, boy, because you don't have your feet underneath you, you don't have that solid base, you can easily throw that away into right field. The next pitch misses. Teo's going to take second anyway on the walk as Shohei takes his place on first base. And the reports are, after the last few weeks of Shohei Ohtani doing well in pitching batting practice and pitching in the bullpen, that he might return Sunday to the starting pitching lineup. So Freddie Freeman's set to come up. He is not out at the mound talking to the pitcher. That's just part of the fun of the 3D. Sometimes it gets a little bit jammed up. That's the catcher. talking about the situation. And no, the catcher's not sitting there watching Freddie Freeman carry his bat around the infield. But Freddie Freeman is set to try to get his first hit of the game, that's for sure. He's 0 for 1. Batting .300 on the season, but he hasn't hit a home run. It's in over 40 games. It's been about a month and a half. So 1 out, runners at first and second. Both of them run well. Shohei Ohtani, wasn't long ago that he stole 50 bases in a season. And Teoscar Hernandez plays left field, so he's got to run on a regular basis. But it'd be nice to see Freddie Freeman hit a home run, for crying out loud. As he fouls that one off and shakes his head and bangs his hand against his bat. Now the count to Freddie is 1-2. Pitch to Freeman. Just outside, and Freddie's protecting the play. That's all he's trying to do on that one. Didn't even swing full, but big sigh. As he seems to be just a little bit frustrated. And the next pitch is high, but Freddie continues to make contact. Protecting the plate with 2 strikes. And the count remains 1-2 with 2 runners on. Next pitch. And hit off the hands, or at least the skinny part of the bat. We just say that metaphorically. And blooped foul to the left of third base. Now, of course, unfortunately, recently, Andy Pages had the ball hit his hands on the bat as he was at bat and broke his hand. And so he's set to be out for at least a couple more weeks, which is why Alek Thomas was called up from AAA Oklahoma City to replace him in center field. But Freddie keeps taking his hacks and fighting the pitches off, and the next pitch misses outside, and the catcher decides to tap his helmet to signal to the umpire he wants to challenge that call, but that's not going to be a successful challenge. Count's going to be 2-2. So the next pitch from Anderson, right down the middle. Boy, Freddie would like to have that pitch back. Golly. And he actually looks to the sky, puts his hands up and goes, man, what else? I mean, what else could I want? I battled all those other pitches off that were around the strike zone, usually outside the strike zone, just to stay alive and either draw a walk or get the pitch that I just got. And next pitch he swings at and fouls into his crotch. Excuse me. So I guess you could say when it rains, it pours. And I believe there's been 10 pitches in this one at bat. And swings and misses for strike 3 after all of that work. Wow. You know he's frustrated. I mean, he showed frustration before he struck out there. And he had a pitch right in the perfect spot of the plate and wasn't able to capitalize. And that's the theme for the Dodgers right now. And we'll see if Mookie can turn that around. With runners in scoring position. He's got one at second, another one backing him up at first. Mookie's 0 for 1 today. He's only batting .239 on the season. I mean, he started the season in the first quarter batting under 200, and he got better, but he's been hanging around 230, which is no good. It's no good for any batter, let alone Mookie Betts. He had 2 hits last night, but I mean, the Dodgers were shut out. They lost 1-0 and wasted a great outing, another great outing by Yoshi. So 2 outs, runners at first and second, and the Dodgers still looking for their first run of the game in the top of the 5th. So the 1-2 pitch on the way to Mookie Betts, and this one is grounded to the third. Oh, and the third baseman boots it. There was no excuse for that one. It was a backhanded play that he had to make, and he just misjudged it. His glove was too low, and it hit off the top edge of his glove, bounced up in the air, and the Dodgers are still alive. So with 2 outs, they have bases loaded. And now the Tiger manager is going to make a pitching change. So we'll see shortly who's going to replace Anderson. I'm going to take myself off the camera here for a second. Take the stadium off too. So if we're lucky, we'll be able to see who's going to replace Drew Anderson. Before the 3D and the official broadcast continues. And yeah, way to go, Command Center. Looks like it's going to be Drew Summers. And as you can see here, he's got a 2.93 ERA, a whip of 1.19, and a win-loss record of 1-3. So, needless to say, I mean, it is the Detroit Tigers, no disrespect, but they're in 4th place in their division. So you expect them to have some suspect pitching. And the Dodgers have to take advantage. It's up to Max Muncy. Just happens to be the person of the moment. And we'll be back very briefly in about 20 seconds. So lefty on lefty for this situation. Tigers feeling like, in part, they need to have that advantageous matchup. The normal thinking, of course, in baseball is if you have a left-handed batter, you want to have a left-handed pitcher and a right-handed batter with a right-handed pitcher. Because it's just a little bit more difficult for the batter seeing the ball come out of the pitcher's hand. It's almost like, let's say you're driving, right? And you're on the left side of the car and you come up to a stop sign and somebody is going to cross the street from the left and you're in the left lane, just a tad bit harder to see it from that angle than somebody crossing from the right, because you just have a bigger window of vision. Max Muncy is already down 0-2. That pitch misses way up high and a little bit inside. Max Muncy bends away from it. Now the count's 1-2. Muncy actually is one of the few Dodgers so far today that's made good contact and was, I won't say he was robbed, but he had a really good opportunity the last time he was up to do some damage. But the first baseman climbed the ladder and kept the ball that Muncy hit from going into right field and curling into the right field corner for a double. That pitch misses outside, and the count's even now, 2-2. So Max Muncy, who's 0 for 1 today, batting .252, but has a good slugging percentage, top 20 in the league. Fouls that one off. And he faces a 2-2 count with 2 outs and bases loaded. And the next pitch, on the way from Summers. Oh, right down the pipe, just blew it past Muncy. Wow, Muncy is not happy. He throws his bat. And the Dodgers, once again, not able to get on the scoreboard, even though they had golden opportunity. And we go to the bottom of the 5th, and the Dodgers 0, Tigers 0. So Eduardo Valencia is set to come up and face Skubal, who really has been stellar today in his return to Comerica Field in Detroit. And Valencia is 0 for 1 today, batting .324 on the season. One thing that's been good about Skubal's work today is he hasn't taken a ton of pitches to get done what he's gotten done. And that one is fouled and back and out of play to the right. And the count is 1-1 to Valencia. Pitch on the way from Skubal, and it is lined just over Max Muncy's head. It bounces fair inside the line, and Valencia is a big man, and he's still going for second, but slides in safely for a leadoff double. So Skubal's given up 2 leadoff doubles today. One, the very first batter of the game. And now Valencia. So Malgeri comes up, who's 0 for 1, batting in the 6th spot. And he's batting .239 on the season. Flied out. He has 3 home runs on the season. The first pitch inside. And the next one is fouled into the ground. Now the count is a 1-1. Dodger infield shifted over for the right-handed batter. I guess the good thing about having the hitter to begin the inning hit a double is the fact that he is not very fleet of foot. Whereas normally a single would score the guy. I don't think that's the case. I mean, it could, but it's not automatic the way that you might think of for most speedy baseball players. Google does take a little peek at second and has the modified leg kick, not really high this time, and delivers the fastball inside to Malgeri. Fouled off, and the count's 2-2. So Detroit trying to be the first team to get on the scoreboard today with nobody out. And this one is grounded to short. Mookie Betts picks it up and does a little hop. I don't like that body language. I do not like that body language. If you saw it, like, dude, you came up, you made a play on the ball, and now he hops and kind of throws off balance to first. Like, I don't know what's up with that body language. Just plant your feet, have a good solid foundation, and make the throw. When he's done that before, he's had a couple sail wide to Freddie Freeman. Now Torkelson comes up, who's the person at first base who climbed the fence, so to speak, and took away a double from Max Muncy earlier in the game. Fouls that one off. Counts 0-1. That one at the very top edge of the strike zone, fouled back, and now it's 0-2. This is a situation where Skubal often tries to get somebody swinging at strike three with the changeup. And he tries to do exactly that, but Torkelson's able to make contact. That was actually well placed, just outside the strike zone, so Torkelson couldn't really do anything productive with it. But made contact and lives to fight another day. So next pitch misses low, bringing the count to 1-2. Next pitch on the way from Skubal. And that was a breaking ball called for a strike. And Torkelson's going to challenge it. And it's confirmed for strike three. So 7 strikeouts for Tarek Skubal now. And if you follow on a regular basis, you know, Dodgers fans, that because that's the 7th strikeout of the game, tomorrow in Los Angeles, you can get a free Jumbo Jack. Just got to make a purchase of, I think, a small drink or something. I don't live in LA anymore, so I don't know. So now Clark comes up, the 8-hitter, who is 0 for 1. And that one catches the outside edge of the strike zone for strike 1. And that one is chopped foul. It doesn't even go all the way to first base, but it's along the right side of the infield. And the count's 0-2. Checked out, 1-2. And the 1-2 pitch to Clark is slapped to left. It gets past Max Muncy because he was shifted over. And now Teoscar Hernandez has trouble fielding it. It gets stuck in the corner. And it looks like not only is it going to score the first run of the game, it's going to lead to Clark getting all the way around to third base. Oh, man. This is part of one of the things that frustrates me about Teoscar Hernandez. I don't know how serious he is about going out in pregame when he's on the road and judging the conditions for the game and understanding how balls are going to hit off of different parts of the wall, but he misjudged that one. And that could easily lead to a second run, as this one by Baez is swung on right away. And that runner from third will not score because Thomas makes the catch in center field. But the Tigers finally break this 0-0 tie, and Skubal gives up a run after pitching very well. So at the end of 5, it is now the Dodgers 0 and the Tigers 1. All right, so we're back, and I was just about at the end of that last at bat to ask you all to put a 1 in the chat if you think the Dodgers are going to be the first ones to score in this game, and a 2 in the chat if it was going to be the Tigers, but Tigers beat me to the punch. So, I'll just put in a shameless plug for the Dodgers. Let's try to get some mojo for them by spamming the chat, by putting a number 1 in there. Last time it worked. Tommy Edman comes up, and now that he's facing a left-handed pitcher, he's going to bat right, where his average is only about 220. Not his strength. It's not just about hits. The Dodgers out-hit the Braves last night by a slim margin, but still lost. And we're seeing something that has really been trademark of when the Dodgers have struggled and lost games, and that is getting hits but leaving people on base or hitting into double plays. They've done both of those things so far today. Edman watches that one land in the strike zone, and the count to him right now is 2-2. It's 1 for 2 today. Hit a bloop single into right field the last time he was up. And that one's right down the middle, and Edman stares at it for strike 3. Unlike somebody like Freddie Freeman, who protects the plate with 2 strikes. Edman just stares at that one. And now you can see all of the Tigers infielders shifting over because Kyle Tucker, the lefty's coming up. He's also 1 for 2 today. Last time he was up, he hit a little bit of a bloop single into left center field. chops that pitch foul to the right of first base. And this one breaks the bat and taken by the second baseman and thrown over the head of the first baseman, so Tucker is going to reach safely. Weakly hit, and second baseman was in good enough position to be able to make that throw. He had to throw it off balance. But because of the errant throw, not only does Kyle Tucker reach safely at first, but because they couldn't field it over there, it's like hitting a double. And another opportunity for the Dodgers, as Kike Hernandez is going to come in to pinch hit in the 7th spot. Kike's only played in 19 games this year, and his batting average, no bueno, 219. It's been difficult for him to find playing time with that low an average and that low offensive production. They're going to have a little conference at the mound, of course. Talk about how to face Kike, since they haven't faced him yet today. Summers is an interesting looking pitcher. He looks like a cartoon character, if you ask me, out of like Little League Baseball. Got this baby face, just a big man. He's really tall. He looks like he's at least 6'3" or 6'4", but also just a large man. Looks larger than everybody else. It's like those pitchers you might see that sprout up and hit puberty early and then are able to ride that all the way to the Little League World Series. That's the kind of guy that he reminds me of. And the pitch to Kike is lined to right field. It's going to be a base hit, and Kyle Tucker is going to be waved around. He's going to try to score, and the play at the plate gets him. Wow. Clearly out. Not by a mile, but clearly out. And, I have to put that on the third base coach. Although he slowed down just a bit, because when he was rounding third, Kyle Tucker took a look up into right field where the ball was. There's no reason for him to do that. Dino's about as good as there is at third base at making a decision about whether to send somebody or bring them home on a hit where they're coming from second base. And if you've ever tried to run as fast as you possibly can, you're in a race with somebody. You don't look to the left or to the right as you're doing it. You're looking straight ahead to maximize your speed and the line that you're going to take so that you can have the shortest distance between 2 points. And Kyle Tucker, who's a veteran, kind of made a rookie error when it came to that. It's not like he has to worry about where the ball is going to be thrown at the plate to adjust where he's going to slide. You're going to try to slide as far to the right and catch the tail, edge of the plate. And so the Dodgers remain scoreless. Now there's 2 outs. So Teoscar Hernandez set to come up. He's 1 for 2. 2 outs and a runner at first. That pitch is in there for a strike, and the count's 2-1 to Teo. And that one is right down the middle of the plate, and he fouls it off. So full count. And Teoscar Hernandez trying to be the first Dodger to put another Dodger across home plate safely. Kike goes with 2 strikes and a full count, but Hernandez looks at ball 4. So now Summers, the baby-faced, oversized pitcher, is going to face another pinch hitter after Kike Hernandez came up and successfully singled to right field, but Kyle Tucker was thrown out at home. The Dodgers are going to sub in Miguel Rojas, who's batting .274. But I love Miguel Rojas in pinch hit situations. I like Kike too. I mean, they've proven time and time again that they can do this well. And the Dodgers need that for sure, with 2 outs and runners at first and second. So Rojas finally gets settled into the box. And the first pitch on the way from Summers. Swings and gets past the shortstop into center field. Kike Hernandez is also going to be waved around. He's not going to look in the outfield. He's just going to book it. And he crosses the plate safely for the first run of the game for the Dodgers. Yes, thank you, Miguel Rojas. I appreciate you, Miguel. I almost feel like Miguel is the least appreciated Dodger, pound for pound, that we have on the roster. He's shown time and time again, including last year's World Series, that he can get clutch hits when we need him the most, when the game's on the line or the game's kind of in doubt, and he does it again. So the Dodgers tie the game up, and now Shohei Ohtani comes up, who hasn't done anything of note at the plate today. He's 0 for 2. Struck out the first time up, then grounded into a double play his second time up. Third time he walked. And he fouls that one off. Kind of a check swing inside. Did not look great. Apologetically, you can see the body language. Says sorry for whoever that foul ball affected. It's just one of the things that Shohei does. And the count is 0-2. And just looks at strike 3. So another strikeout by Shohei Ohtani, but Miguel Rojas gets the job done, and so does Kike Hernandez. The 2 pinch hitters come in and level the game, and now it's up for grabs as the Dodgers finally get on the scoreboard. And we go to the bottom of the 6th, and it's the Dodgers 1 and the Tigers 1. So Tarek Skubal remains in the game, and why not? I mean, at this point, he should go hopefully through the 7th at the least, unless something really unusual happens. But I haven't seen any evidence of that being part of Skubal's history or his pattern. I mean, he's really cooking right now. He's going to face Torres, the top of the lineup, who's 1 for 2. And starts him with a strike. And Torres fouls that one off. Ben Rortvedt's behind the plate now. Skubal with 7 strikeouts on the day so far. And that pitch misses outside. And that one chopped off on the skinny part of the bat to the right and out of play. So 1-2 to Torres, who is 1 for 2 today, batting .260. And that one's in the dirt. Evens the count, 2-2. Torres started this game against Skubal with a double over the head of the center fielder to the fence, and swings at this one and hits it to center again, dropping in front of the center fielder for his 2nd hit of the game. And now the number 2 hitter, Lee, comes up, who's 0 for 2. As the lights come on, and we're definitely into nighttime mode in Detroit. My pitch misses inside for a ball. And the next pitch misses way inside for ball 2. And this one is chopped into the hole, but Mookie Betts gets it and hops and throws to second in time. They try to turn 2, but way too hard to do that. But great job by Mookie keeping that ball from going into left field by sprinting to his right, backhanding it, and then jumping and throwing it in the air to second base because he did not have time to plant his feet and throw. Outstanding job by Mookie. So 1 out now with a runner at first, and McGonigal coming up. McGonigal's 0 for 2 tonight with a ground out and a strikeout. And as I said earlier, the question I think tonight, a question, when Skubal's all done, is who did not strike out on the Tigers batting order against Tarek Skubal. This one by McGonigal is flied high, but short into left center. And the catch is made there for the 2nd out of the inning. And Skubal continues to not burn a ton of pitchers to be efficient today. He's only thrown 82. If it stays like that, I would expect him to come back out next inning. So now Dingler comes up, is 0 for 2. And the very first pitch is swung on here. It's going to go to right center, but Kyle Tucker is able to get there in time and make the catch and make that only 83 pitches at this point and 3 away. And at the end of 6, we are tied 1-1. So one of a number of close games for the Dodgers. But there's a clear difference between when the Dodgers play a team that's low in the standings and one that's high in the standings. What you'd hate to see is for them to face the Tigers with such a good return by Tarek Skubal back home to Comerica Park, spoiled by a loss to a team that's 4th in the standings and has a losing record. Detroit's 62-71. This is something that the Dodgers have struggled with from time to time throughout the season, and that is stringing together hits at the right time and taking advantage of runners in scoring position and runners on. Meanwhile, the Tigers make a pitching change. Another lefty. I'll give you a little information about him after kind of look and see this conversation between Dave Roberts and Tarek Skubal in the dugout. I don't know if he's telling him you're done for the day, but it kind of looks like that. And, you know, just, I know I sound like a broken record when I say this so many different games, but I don't agree with that. I don't agree with him taking out Skubal, and the game's tied. One inning early before he can hand the ball to a middle reliever. And yeah, people are hugging Skubal and saying, great job. Looks like he's done. They have somebody warming up in the bullpen. This is exactly what happens when the Dodgers lose close games. Dave Roberts, in my opinion, makes the wrong judgment and takes out a starter too soon. However, for all of the complaints I've had with his decisions on the pitching staff, I think he does a great job when it comes to deciding who to bat when. And that was just evidenced last inning with 2 pinch hitters being the ones that drove in that 1 run that the Dodgers have on the scoreboard for today. Meanwhile, Freddie Freeman comes up, who's batting second today, and he's 0 for 2. And the last time he was up, he struck out a second strikeout and very frustrated. He had a pitch that was right down the pipe after fighting off a bunch of pitches and then looked at strike 3 and just was so frustrated. This one is lined into left, and it's going to drop for his first base hit. So Baez picks it up, throws it back in, and Freddie's on with nobody out. And so now Mookie Betts comes up, who's 1 for 2 today. And I used to say, we're not going to see Freddie Freeman steal, but I stopped after recently seeing him in the last month steal a couple of times. Catch everybody, including me, off guard. And that one looks like it's outside, but it's going to be called a strike. And Mookie decides not to challenge, so it's 0-2. Oh, and he chases one way outside and low. Looks like a fool doing so. It strikes out. So the pitcher Holton, a lefty, is going to face the four-hitter Max Muncy, who's 0 for 2 tonight. And that misses outside. So 1-0 pitch to Max Muncy. And this one is flied very high. It was a very hittable pitch, kind of in the center of the plate, and did not make good contact. And that pop-up is easily caught by the shortstop, the second out of the inning. So now Tommy Edman comes up, who's 1 for 3, got the first hit of the day for the Dodgers in the 5th inning. And looks at first pitch in there for a strike. Tommy Edman struck out looking the last time he was up. Next pitch. Oh, it's into the dirt and bounces off the catcher Dingler and goes to the backstop. So Freddie Freeman's able to advance from first to second. So Edman with an opportunity, as Freddie Freeman now is in scoring position. Counts 1-1. And the next pitch. Oh my. Way outside and low. And Edman, I mean, he couldn't have reached that if he tried. He did try and he missed. But if he had like jumped and tried to make contact, maybe he would have had a chance. And the next pitch hits Edman. That's what you got to do right there. If it's coming at your leg, don't hop and get out of the way. Let it hit you. Permanent injury that's going to happen that way. All these guys jumping out of the way. If it's anywhere like shoulders or above, of course, protect your head, protect yourself. But that's part of what makes Tommy Edman a champion, and how he's contributed to the Dodgers the last 2 seasons as champions. He'll just do whatever it takes to help the Dodgers win. So 2 outs, and now Kyle Tucker comes up with runners at first and second. Tucker's 1 for 3. Batting only .229. And Holton misses for a ball. Holton, another large man as a pitcher. Not quite as large, and definitely not the babyface pitcher that we had before. And Tucker swings at that one and chops it foul to the right of first base. Two men on, 2 outs. Freddie Freeman at second has enough speed to be able to score on a base hit. And Tucker looks at the next pitch outside for a ball. Tucker's a little bit better facing lefties, even though he is a lefty. His average is about .250. And the next pitch misses. So Tucker does a nice job drawing a walk with a full count. And the Dodgers are in business again. The second time today that they've had bases loaded with 2 outs. Last time they were not able to do anything with it. And the Tigers are going to make a pitching change. And that'll give us a chance to refresh this 3D. And Teoscar Hernandez set to come up, who does have a hit today. And looks like we already know who this next pitcher is going to be. Let's go ahead and take a look. Yes, Jacob. Let's take my big mug off. Jacob Waguespack. 2.40 ERA. Whoa. A whip at only 0.87. All right. See how that goes against Kike. Kike, who's already come in and given the Dodgers some life. They're on a little bit of life support. To insert it as a pinch hitter and delivered a hit, and then was able to come around and score when Miguel Rojas, also pinch hitter, singled him there. Waguespack. There we go. All right, Kike. Do it again. Kike's clutch. Swings and misses at that one. Took a big swing, falls forward. So 0-1. And this one is swung on and flied high. And it's going to be in shallow right and caught easily for the 3rd out. So for the second time today, the Dodgers have bases loaded with 2 outs, and they're not able to score. And we go to the bottom of the 7th. It's the Dodgers 1 and Detroit 1. And if you're with us for the first time, welcome. We'd love for you to join LA Press Box by hitting subscribe. This is the new channel that's designed to bring LA sports fans together, but also try to support people for away teams that often either can't see the game, maybe they're blacked out on the road, and to give you something else as a live game companion using the command center that we've built that gives you real-time stats updated throughout the game. And in the next week or two, we're going to be expanding to football. So in addition to the Dodgers, we're going to be doing the LA Rams, the LA Chargers, and UCLA football. Later on in the year, we'll move on during basketball season as well to the Los Angeles Lakers. And it looks like the Dodgers are set to bring in Phillips. He's going to face Valencia. Tarek Skubal is done for the day, and a successful return to the stadium. An emotional one. One where he's pitched 6 innings only gave up 1 earned run, 4 hits, no walks, and punched out 7 Tigers hitters. But I do not agree with this move. I often disagree with their pitching moves. Skubal had only thrown 84 pitches, and I feel like you got to go one more inning with him rather than hand it off to Phillips. I hope I'm wrong. So Colt Keith is going to face Phillips. He's batting .264 on the season with 9 home runs. But he's hitting .274 against righties like Phillips. The first pitch is in there for a strike to Keith. Next pitch. Perfect placement right on the corner for strike 2. And the next pitch, on the way from Phillips, is very deliberate and slow on the mound. Takes as much time as he can from pitch to pitch. Throws a third straight fastball and gets Keith swinging for strike 3. Now Maljury comes up, is 0 for 2. And he's had as big a play as anybody tonight, because when he was in right field after a base hit that sent Kyle Tucker for the Dodgers from second base all the way around home, it arrived just in time to get him out at home. And instead of a 2-1 lead, this is why we are tied. And the next pitch is fouled off. It was right in there. And Jerry fouls it off to the right. Now the count's 1-2. And the next pitch on the way from Phillips. A sweeper in there. Beautiful for strike 3. So far, so good. 2 batters, 2 strikeouts for Phillips. Now he's going to face Torkelson. Torkelson 0 for 2. Only batting .222 on the season. Spencer Torkelson has lined out today and struck out. Most of these Tigers batters have struck out against Tarik Skubal in his return to Comerica Park. Next pitch on the way from Evan Phillips. Gets Torkelson chasing. Wow. Throws 10 pitches. And from those 10 pitches gets 3 strikeouts. Still haven't gotten to the point where I'm willing to say I'm wrong, because you could have had that same guy come in the 8th inning instead of the 7th. I mean, it's a bit of a ripple effect, but awesome job by Phillips striking out the side. And at the end of 7, we are tied at 1. So, yet another close game for the Dodgers, and Teoscar Hernandez set to come up. And he's going to face Wagaspack, who's back in there. Teo's 1 for 2. He singled and walked. We need more power from these Dodgers hitters. I mean, I'm not asking Tommy Edman to hit a bunch of home runs, but Teo needs to hit home runs. Shohei needs to do more in terms of power. So does Freddie Freeman. When's the next time Freddie Freeman's going to hit a home run? How long is he going to take between home runs? 2 months? What the Dodgers need to do, and they're not doing very well today, is go back to the way they responded from Dave Roberts, but he basically called the whole team out and said, we are not getting it done at the plate. We need to be disciplined. Stop trying to, fix whatever struggles we have at the plate with one swing. Make these pitchers work. Especially because you have so many veterans playing for the Dodgers. They don't chase. And Teo singles this one to left center. All right, so once again, the Dodgers have the leadoff hitter on with nobody out. But we've wasted a couple of opportunities like this. Last inning was the second time with 2 outs. And bases loaded, we're not able to cash in. So now Ben Rortvedt, substitute catcher, coming in, and he squares around a bunt, and terrible technique. Come on, dude, you're a pro, and the bat is pulled back. And he misses. It's just not being a professional. Now it squares up again and misses again. Wow. 0-2 on 2 missed bunts. I can't remember ever seeing that. And Rortvedt's only batting 174. He has no home runs. He has 1 RBI in the season. So needless to say, Will Smith cannot return fast enough. So you got to think that he's going to swing away on this one. I guess. I don't know. He's got 2 strikes. You get a foul ball, it's 3. Oh, and he squares up again. He actually gets this one down in the right spot. And with no surprise, he's able to move the runner along. Wow. 3 straight attempts at bunting. Finally gets the 3rd one down. Moves Teo to second base. And he does it for Shohei Ohtani to come up, who's 0 for 3 today. 2 strikeouts, neither of them were very good. I mean, you never want to see somebody strike out from your team, but both strikeouts were really bad. The third strike in particular. Shohei looks at that pitch inside for a ball. First time, he golfed at a pitch that was way inside and low. And then the second strikeout, he just stared at it for strike 3. And that one's in there. That evens the count, 1-1. Next pitch from Waguespack. Oh, bounces in front of home plate. Takes a ricochet off of the chest protector for the catcher, but he's able to keep it close enough where Teoscar Hernandez cannot advance from second to third base. So now the count's 2-1 to Shohei. The next pitch misses inside to Shohei. Now the count's 3-1. Shohei's got 30 home runs on the season. And the next pitch on the way to Shohei is a fastball. Oh boy, and he really did try to give that one a ride, but fouls it back instead. And now the count's full to Shohei with 1 out and a runner at second. And this one, Shohei gets a lot of power on, but he just pulls it foul into the stands in right field. So the count remains 3-2. So next pitch on the way to Shohei. And it's grounded straight to the second baseman. So he's going to throw the first for the second out of the inning. However, Teo advances from second to third. And now Freddie Freeman comes up, who just got his first hit of the day in his last at bat. He's 1 for 3. He's also walked. So Freddie Freeman with an opportunity to give the Dodgers the lead. And I've been saying, please hit a home run, but at this point, of course, any Dodger fan would take a base hit. And the first pitch swung on and hit squarely to center field. That's exactly what he does. And he gives the Dodgers the lead. So now the Dodgers, with 2 outs, get their second run. And Mookie Betts set to come up, who's 1 for 3 today. Batting average is nudged up just a hair to 240 on the season. And this one is swung on. It's to center field, but it's going to be playable. And Clark doesn't even have to work hard to get there and make the catch for the third out of the inning. But Freddie Freeman, after struggling and looking to the heavens for strength and guidance earlier in the game, especially when he struck out after an 11-pitch at bat, responds with 2 straight hits. And the second one especially important as he's able to put the Dodgers ahead with an RBI. And we go to the bottom of the 8th. Now the Dodgers are 6 outs away from a victory with Tarek Skubal's return to Comerica Park. All right, so a 1-2-3, 10-pitch, 3-strikeout inning from Phillips last inning. Now Brock Stewart, who I like, is coming back out. He's been getting more and more action for the Dodgers in middle relief. We're still really searching for a shutdown closer. We don't have it. Edwin Diaz has been a disaster, and I don't know when he's going to be resurfacing as a result of claiming injury. Tanner Scott's done some good things as a closer this year, but there's been some times that he's struggled. But Brock Stewart's been really solid. His ERA is a little less than 2. He's going to face the 8, 9, and 1 hitters this inning. Starts with Clark, who's 1 for 2 today. Clark has an RBI triple, although he got to third base and did not score. Got to third base in part, in my opinion, as a result of Teoscar Hernandez misplaying the ball off of the wall in the corner of left field. Stewart misses with his first 2 pitches. Make that 3. And starts this inning 3-0. So we'll see if Clark is swinging or watching. And he was watching. Forces Stewart to throw a strike, which he does. And the count is 3-1. What you want to do with the Tigers at this point, of course, is make them hit the ball. Don't dance around the strike zone. That one's in there for another strike, and now the count is suddenly full. The next pitch just misses by a hair outside. And the nibble strategy does not work. So Brock Stewart walks the very first batter, who represents the tying run. Now Brett Callahan comes up representing the go-ahead run. Brett Callahan's going to be the pinch hitter with a batting average of .261. I believe he's appeared in just fewer than 20 games this year. Quick conference at the mound with Stewart. And I'm sure the catcher's saying something to the effect of, "Throw strikes, bro." And Callahan not able to catch up to that fastball, and the count is 0-1. Next pitch from Stewart to Callahan, and this one is rifled into right field for a base hit, and the runner at first advances, but then is held at second. And so Brock Stewart walks the first man and gives up a hit to the second. And there's nobody out. 2 runners on. And here comes Torres, who's been the most trouble at the plate for the Dodgers today. He's 2 for 3 with a double and a single. The big man also has 8 home runs on the season. This is exactly why, although I like Stewart as a pitcher, exactly why I disagree with Dave Roberts. Because you're not in this situation in the 8th. if you let Scuba go another inning and then let Phillips come in the eighth. This one is grounded to second. It's picked up by Eben, shoveled to first, where Mookie Betts steps on the bag, and after he catches it and makes that out, throws to first for a double play. Outstanding work by the infield there. Runner at second advances to third, but now there's 2 outs. And Hyu Lee comes up. Third baseman's 0 for 3 tonight. But he did have fielder's choice in the 6th. First pitch, this is outside. Infield is shifted over. You can see Tommy Edman right behind Stewart, playing pretty close to second base. They're expecting Lee to hit it to our left. Dodgers only need 1 out to escape this inning, but runner threatening at third base. And the early count to Lee is 2-0. And the next one, just outside for ball 3. So 3-0 to Lee. And they're going to choose to not try to swim upstream against Lee and give him something to hit. And instead, they're going to intentionally walk him after Stewart throws the first 3 pitches for balls. And they're also going to give Stewart the hook. So once again, Dave Roberts, with the Dodgers in trouble, because, in my opinion, he pulled the starting pitcher out too early. So we'll go over here and see who gets announced as the next pitcher up. Usually our command center registers it pretty quickly. And it's going to be Alex Vesia. Alex Vesia coming in with a 3.11 ERA and a beard much longer than that player card shows. Vesia's beard's probably a good 6 inches. He hasn't cut it in a year. And he's going to face Kevin McGonigal. And that'll give us a chance to refresh the 3D, make sure it's as up-to-date as possible, see what happens here as Vesia is getting warmed up. Vesia was pretty lights out in the first half of the season. He has not quite been that in the second half of the season. Pitched in 59 games, 46 innings. He's got 59 strikeouts and 31 walks. That ratio struggled just a little bit in the second half of the season. But a big, big situation for him here. And I would not be surprised, even though McGonigal's 0 for 3, if with 2 outs, the Tigers tried to steal. And that's because I don't think the catcher has strong enough arm to throw him out. And with a hit by McGonigal, who's the number 3 hitter in the lineup, they would take the lead. So Vesia comes in, and the first pitch to McGonigal swung on, and it's hit deep into center. And Kike Hernandez, who got subbed into the game, is playing center, and he's able to make the catch at the warning track over his left shoulder. So, a little bit of increase in the heart rate there, but Kike made that catch albeit a little bit lackadaisically, solidly for the third out. And now we, at the end of 8, have a score of 2-1, and the Dodgers are 3 outs away from a win. See if they're able to close it. Needless to say, going to the top of the ninth, the Dodgers can use some insurance, especially after that close call. The Dodgers really having to scratch out a win here, which is anything but certain, especially after they got swept in 3 straight games against the Atlanta Braves, each one by a margin of 1. A couple of key performers for the Dodgers, although there's not many of them today when it comes to batting. First and foremost, Kike Hernandez and Miguel Rojas, who a couple of innings ago were able to, as pinch hitters inserted into the game, get hits and score. First, Kike, who of course is in center field, as you just saw. And then Miguel, who pinch hit and then went right back to the bench as the Dodgers decided to make substitution behind the plate with the catchers, as opposed to putting Miguel Rojas behind the plate. And then Freddie Freeman to give the Dodgers the lead after he was struggling in his first couple of at-bats. In fact, his strikeout before the last 2 at-bats looked pretty ugly, and I think he would agree. He looked kind of lost up there, but then responded with 2 straight hits, second of which RBI, and now we stand here as Dodgers fans with a 1-run lead. And Max Muncy coming up. Swings and misses at that one. Muncy struck out earlier tonight and threw his bat in frustration. He's 0 for 3. This one is popped very high and very shallow. I think the catcher is going to be in position to be able to make this catch. And actually gets called off by the third baseman. That's wise. It's always easier to run forward unless you have to go super far to make a catch rather than backing up. And those ones that get popped pretty much straight up, they curve at the last second. I've had to catch those as a catcher. They're brutal. It's easy to fall down at the last second as you're stretching for a ball that's curving. So now Tommy Edman, number 5 hitter, who's 1 for 3, comes up. And Tommy was the first Dodger to get a hit. It was either in the 4th or the 5th inning. It's a pretty anemic offensive production, to say the least, by the Dodgers. And this one swung on and flied to left. No drama there. They're going to catch that for the second out. And now Kyle Tucker comes up, who's 1 for 3. He did hit a single, and he reached on an error. He's batting .229 on the season. Before Andy Pages got hurt, this is one of the people I would say sit him for a while and let him, I don't know, clear his head, do something different, so that he's much more productive at the plate. And then let Kike and maybe, Tommy Edman both start in the outfield. But Teoscar Hernandez has struggled just enough at the plate and been somewhat suspect in the outfield that it's kind of hard to have him be the lockdown left fielder, in my opinion, even though that's what Dave Roberts has decided. But with Andy out, they don't really have the flexibility anymore. They could have had Miguel Rojas then at second base, who still has one of the better batting averages on the Dodgers roster, and once again had a clutch hit tonight to even up the game. So the early count to Tucker is 1-2. That's a little bit better on the road than he does at home. And with 2 outs, the pitch from Kinley on the way and fouled back to the left and out of play. Next pitch misses low and evens the count at 2-2. And this one is fouled to the right of first base, and the count remains 2-2. And the next pitch to Tucker, well high of the strike zone, and now the count's full. Be nice to get a runner on. Always nice to get a runner on, but it'd be great to get someone in position to be able to give us an insurance run with Kike Hernandez on deck. And Tucker looks at that one for ball 4, and that's exactly what happens. So Kike now, who was inserted as a pinch hitter and now playing center field, responsible for the last out last inning, comes up and he's 1 for 2. Batting .231 on the season. So Tucker draws his second walk of the evening. With the lights on in Detroit, Kike looks at the first pitch for a strike, second one for a ball, evening the count at 1-1. And Kyle Tucker's stealing, and they don't even throw down. I don't know if it's because he had a terrible jump or he delayed the start of his steal, and that just was not the proper rhythm for the catcher to be able to see it and throw down. But either way, effective. And Kyle Tucker now in scoring position after stealing his 9th base of the season. Kike check swing, does not go, and looks at it for a ball. And the count's 3-1. And the next pitch on the way from Kinley to Kike, and it's low, it misses, ball 4. So Kike now, after being inserted as, a little bit of extra juice by Dave Roberts, gets on base twice. So now Teoscar Hernandez batting in the 8th spot coming up. And he has 2 hits tonight. He's 2 for 3, batting .249 on the season. Would love for him to just launch one right here. Especially because, it's not a game, but Teoscar Hernandez has participated in the home run derby, and I believe won it in this very stadium. And why that might matter is just because there's a contrast, right, between a ball coming in and whatever the background visual is. And every stadium is just a little bit different. You can't explain it precisely, but this is one reason why some batters just do much better at certain ballparks than others. There's something about the visual contrast that's easier or harder. And maybe that's a lot of talk by me having wishful thinking, but I do not like seeing them with such low run production. as Teo swings and misses the first pitch. And if it was me, I'd throw nothing but curveballs at Teo. And I'd have him start in the middle and trail outside, because that's his biggest weakness. Swings and misses at that. That was a slider. And now the count's 0-2. So 2 runners on, 2 outs, and the count is 1-2 to Teo. Did not chase that one. Another slider. And Kinley knows. I mean, they have scouting reports on all these guys. This is part of why they get paid millions of dollars, to study the scouting report, know the weaknesses of these guys, watch film on them. And the next pitch, this is outside. So the count's 2-2 to Teoscar Hernandez. Kyle Tucker at second base, Kike Hernandez at first. And that one was squarely in the strike zone. Another slider that Teo actually caught up to, but he fouled it back and out of play. Teo backs out and comes back in, ready for work. Two runners on, 2 balls, 2 strikes, and Teo swings and fouls this one back. And the third baseman's coming in. Lee, oh, you can see that ball curling back late. He almost fell. I don't know if he hurt himself, but that's exactly what I was talking about earlier, having lived through that nightmare many times. But he makes the catch, and the Dodgers are not able to add an insurance run. So we go to the bottom of the 9th, and the Dodgers are clinging to a 1-run lead, 2-1. All right, as you just saw, Tanner Scott set to come in. The closer for the Dodgers. Who's been a little less locked down, if he ever was, and a little less reliable in the second half of the season, but still a solid option. But he's pitched in 58 games, and the opponents are batting .205 on him. He's going to start by facing Dingler. Dingler in the cleanup spot, batting 4th, but 0 for 3. And by most accounts, Dingler has been the Tigers' MVP and has an opportunity here to start him off positively. He still represents from home plate the tying run. That pitch misses way outside, and the count is even at 1-1. And Dingler swings and misses that slider, and the count's 1-2. Next pitch, just outside. Catcher Ben Rortvedt tries to frame it and bring it back inside, but that should be completely irrelevant these days. You shouldn't be able to influence an umpire after you catch the ball. And despite trying, he doesn't. The count's even at 2-2. Dingler's batting .252 on the season. He's got that open stance with the left foot back a little bit so he can see. And he does see that one well enough to let it fall low for ball 3. And the count's full. And the pitch from Scott. A slider gets him swinging, strike 3. Outstanding pitch. Outstanding pitch. All kinds of break. And I don't know exactly why, but the Dodgers pitching coach is coming out. Okay, so he just wants to talk about strategy for the next batter. It may be, it is. That's what they like to do. If there's going to be a pinch hitter. And the pinch hitter is going to be Julks. Tanner Scott blew a couple of saves on the road against Atlanta, but he's going to face Corey Julks now, who's batting .272 on the season. Sorry, check that. In the recent times, it's .272, .333 on the season, but with limited availability. He has no home runs and no RBI. Only been up 6 times this year. And the next pitch, grounded, and Mookie Betts at short is able to go to his left and pick it up and throw to first for the second out of the inning. Now the Dodgers 1 out away from closing this game out and getting back on a winning track. And Scott's going to face the 6-hitter, Malgeri, who's 0-for-3 tonight. And if you're enjoying it, what we're doing here at LA Press Box, this new channel, welcome. Join us by hitting subscribe before you leave today. And we'd love for a couple of likes, of course. But subscribe and I'll let you know when we're going to be broadcasting again. Although I'll let you know right now, the next 2 days, we'll be here in the morning. The next 2 games that the Dodgers face the Detroit Tigers. Pacific time, first pitch I think tomorrow is like 10:10 a.m. 10:20. Then on Sunday, I think it's 10:40 a.m. Pacific. And then in the next week, we're going to start to expand to LA football. That pitch is low. Actually hits the plate and bounces all the way back to the backstop. Started this channel in order to bring people together from the LA sports community. And so when we do football, it'll be the Rams and the Chargers and UCLA. This one swung and fouled back to the right. And there's 2 strikes now. And Tanner Scott gets Malgeri to swing and miss at strike 3 with the 2-2 count. And a great rebound save for Tanner Scott. And a big smile from him. I can't remember the last time I saw him smile. Good for him. Good for Tanner Scott. And good for the Dodgers. You know, they've got another close game on their hands today. And another game where they underperformed offensively. but ultimately still got the win. And the biggest reason was Tarek Skubal. Tarek Skubal comes back to Comerica Field, and he's able to have an outstanding return, actually a standing ovation that saw him really shut down most of the Tigers' batting order. He had 7 strikeouts, only gave up 4 hits, and only 1 run, and really was kind of on fire early on. And so it was great to see Scooble be able to have a good homecoming. He's actually talked a little bit about how he'd like to come back home to the Tigers at some point. We'll see what happens with that. But more importantly, if you're a Dodgers fan, it's good to see them get back in the win column after being swept against the Atlanta Braves. And they have to be able to beat these teams that are not high in the standings, because they've shown, at least recently, that they're going to struggle against the teams with the best records in the league. But they're all close. And so, as a Dodger fan, or in this case, if you're a Tiger fan, hopefully you enjoy the fact that it was a close game today. And we'll see how it plays out again tomorrow with that early first pitch. Blake Snell will be on the mound again, and it's been a really good combination for the Dodgers since the trade deadline, where Skubal pitches one game and then Snell follows him up, and Snell has been at least as good as Skubal has been, and each of them, of course, have won the Cy Young Award for Best Pitcher in the league twice. So we're looking forward to that, and hopefully the Dodgers can string together another win. And hopefully as well, they can score a lot more runs than they did tonight. The first run scored as a result of 2 hitters being inserted as pinch hitters for the Dodgers, one being Kike Hernandez and the other one Miguel Rojas. And then later in the game, with a runner at second, Freddie Freeman was able to respond and bring the runner home with his RBI that ultimately ended up being the difference in the game. So thanks again to everybody for joining us at LA Press Box. We'll see you in the morning.